Welcome to another episode of Context. I'm Dilek Tuna. At the crossroads of history and infrastructure, the Zangezur corridor is once again in sharp focus. Recent statements from Turkish leaders, including President Erdogan and Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan, signal renewed momentum behind the project. Turkey says it aims to contribute directly to the Zangezur corridor with hopes it will revive trade and deepen regional connectivity. Originally envisioned as a link between Azerbaijan's mainland and its Nakhchivan exclave, the corridor holds far greater implications. A potential land bridge connecting the Turkic world, enabling east-west trade and transforming the regional transit map, all while stirring geopolitical calculations from Tehran to Moscow. So we'll look at how significant the Zangezur corridor is, and could it truly shape regional cooperation, or is it hostage to political friction? Joining me to discuss further is Shabnam Safarova. She's the chair of Public Union for Progress of Karabakh from Baku, Azerbaijan. Shabnam, welcome to the program today.
Hi.
Now, let's start with the corridor's strategic importance. Why is the Zangezur corridor seen as such a vital route by Turkey and Azerbaijan?
After a long time, after many years, it is chance that there will be one bridge road between Turkey and Azerbaijan. It will be direct and uninterrupted way. And it will affect to all energy projects and will cut the costs of commercial and economic projects, and not only between Turkey and Azerbaijan, but between Turkey and all other Turkic states or Caspian region states in Central Asia. Rather than it will be just the vital role of Turkey will increase as bridge country, one of the bridge countries between China and Europe. That's why I think that let's say approach of minister and president of Turkey is clear.
And can it become a true east-west economic artery, or will geopolitical tensions continue to block its potential?
The potential is almost certainly there. So for the region, it's a very great opportunity for being the east and the west economic artery. So we can understand that the geopolitical tensions and the let's say obstacles for this project because it can decrease the effect of some countries, or maybe they think that it will decrease their effect, or maybe it will stop their monopoly on transportation and other issues in the region. But I think the key players of this project, like Armenia, Azerbaijan, Turkey, and other countries, which can be, for example, let's say Armenia, which can be obstacle, or which wants to attention to this project. They can be one of the beneficiaries of this road, of this corridor, because the pragmatic, the rational individuals of Armenia, they have always understood that one of the suffering countries from Karabakh conflict was Armenia, because they were excluded from all major regional energy projects. But now it is a second chance with which history gives them. They can be one of the parties, one of the players of major economic and energy projects in the region. That's why I think if the key players will understand that the tensions and the obstacles are meaningless, it can be good potential for the region.
Okay, so Shabnam, there's a renewed engagement on the Turkey front. I want to turn our focus to that as well. President Erdogan recently stated that the corridor would revive trade. What does Turkey stand to gain economically and strategically here?
It is economically, for sure, as I mentioned before, it will enhance the trade access to the Caspian region and Central Asia without relying on more volatile or longer routes. It will cut costs in logistics and in other aspects of economical projects by Turkey. It will make this region much more attractive for investment, for foreign investment. It will create new and beneficial markets for the Turkey and other countries. That's why economically we can understand the approach of Turkey. And rather than it will deepen Ankara's role as linchpin between, so in Eurasian connectivity, as we mentioned, it will between China and European countries. If we watch as energy-wise, it could ease the movement of energy transmission between East and West. And, you know, Turkey has always have energy ambitions. I mean, the ambition to become a logistics and energy corridor, the part of this corridor between East and West. And this project will serve to this ambition of Turkey as well.
Okay. And is Ankara's push primarily about economics, as you very well underlined, pan-Turkic unity, or deepening its influence in the South Caucasus?
I think it's a mix of all of these aspects. You know, we cannot watch from just one direction. So, and there is not only economic interest or only political or only, I don't know, development interests. It is the mix of different beneficial aspects for, and especially not only for Turkey, but for the region. And, you know, we have a very good example as an example of European Union. The countries with different language, different maybe cultures, they have made economic union which boost the economy of the countries, the union countries, based on a unique currency and let's say for customs, the simplified customs regulations and etc. So why it cannot be good example for Turkey countries as well? So if we watch to the history, there were periods that Turkey countries has more stable and more strong periods when the connectivity between these countries were very good. And that's why, yes, one of the reasons, if it's economic reason, the other reason can be like the economic Turkic Union for more stable, for more beneficial economy and stability. And for sure, we cannot deny Turkey's influence in the South Caucasus. You know, it historically was, and it can deepen this influence as well in a positive way.
Okay, so speaking of regional cooperation, could the Zangezur corridor be a bridge for broader regional cooperation involving Armenia, Iran, and, say, Central Asia?
It depends on approach of these countries. If they approach to this project as, let's say, pragmatically, for sure. As I mentioned in the beginning of our discussion, Armenia unfortunately was excluded by its own, let's say, decision. It was excluded from all major regional projects, economic and energy projects. Iran as well as during this period could be much more beneficial from the regional projects. And I think it can be a very good bridge between these countries for how can I say, just and you know, it is like the corridor can serve as the foundation for broader regional integration. You know, that it just, we are not interested in very small unions or small, let's say, cooperation between countries. It can be a very good chance for broader regional integration and stability.
Okay, and what would regional infrastructure integration look like in practice, especially through the lens of the Organisation of Turkic States?
As I mentioned, in an example of European Union, we saw how it can be good for economy of countries, for welfare of nations. And it will be like harmonization of customs and transportation regulations. It can, for sure, there will be interconnected rail and highway systems from Turkey to, let's say, to Far East through via Azerbaijan. So it will be like shared logistics centers. It can help for smart port projects for Turkic countries and other regional countries. It can energy infrastructure. It can decrease the cost in logistics of energy, which is very crucial nowadays. Mm-hmm. And for sure, the Organization of Turkic States can be instrumental aligning. It can be instrumental in aligning infrastructure goals. So building trust and mobilizing resources across member countries.
Okay, so let's turn the focus to Armenia and political obstacles related to the Zangezur corridor. When asked by a journalist about the prospect of a US company exercising control over the Zangezur corridor, President Ilham Aliyev responded that such a matter was for the Armenian leadership to consider. As for Azerbaijan, he stated unequivocally that no third-party operator would be permitted on Azerbaijani territory, and he also reiterated Baku's long-standing position that any passage from mainland Azerbaijan to the Nakhchivan exclave must remain fully unobstructed. So given these remarks, Shebnem, does it appear that Baku could in principle agree to the presence of a third-party operator managing the corridor?
Azerbaijan and Armenia have a very bad experience in this issue. We saw that what would happen if the third parties are involved in the process, or even if this third party is another country or diaspora, Armenia and other regional countries have suffered from these influences for tens of years. That's why I think the both countries have a lot of lessons learned from history, and it's a very near history, recent history. And while taking new decisions, we have to take into consideration the historical lessons.
Well, Armenia has voiced concerns about sovereignty and regional balance. How likely is Armenian cooperation at this stage?
Cooperation is possible. And it is like if Armenia will make just simple cost-benefit analysis, just pragmatically, they can solve all these cautious, all these stereotypes, I think. And I think the best part of this process is that we are near to solution of our problems nowadays, because we can see the dialogues between even leaders of two countries and other representatives from two countries, and it's a good way of making solution on this issue. It's natural that Armenia has concerns because Armenia has made not very good decisions years ago. And that's why it's natural that they have concerns, they have stereotypes, they have some, I don't know, they want to keep, let's say, regional balance by their approach. But I think it is it can be solved by communication, and if the communication will be more and more between countries' representatives, they can see that this problem can be solved in the Caucasus by ourselves.
Okay, so you've articulated there that Armenia does have concerns, but are there signs of compromise between Baku and Yerevan on corridor access, or has the peace process reached another impasse here?
There have been, as I mentioned, there have been fluctuations. And however, the momentum behind normalization is stronger now than the previous years. If broader peace agreements process, practical steps on the corridor could follow it. And we can see the signs, the positive signs. Just the key point here, especially for Armenia, is not to be influenced by third parties, even by diaspora, own diaspora.
Okay, and let's talk about the wider geopolitical impact as well. How is Iran likely to respond to renewed momentum behind the corridor, especially if it bypasses Iranian territory?
I think Iran has expressed its concerns about this issue, and it can reduce geopolitical leverage and transit role of Iran, and they understood it. However, Tehran also stands to benefit from broader regional community, broader regional connectivity. If it engages rather than resists, I think each period, historical period, has its own realities. And for now, Zangezur corridor is a very real project and very beneficial project, not only for Azerbaijan, but for the whole region. And in this case, resistance, just being part of this big opportunity is much more better than resistance. And I think Iran, especially the recent meetings, the recent change in approach in Iran, it seems they also are willing to be part of bigger regional connectivity rather than resist it.
And does the corridor threaten or complement Russia's role in the region as a transit and security guarantor?
Yeah, it could be seen both ways. If Russia remains involved in ensuring stability and transit coordination, it could complement its role. And however, the corridor can reduce Moscow's monopoly on over regional routes and influence, especially if Western and Central Asia countries' integration intensifies. That's why Russia's stance is often, how can I say, ambivalent, just supportive in principle, but cautious in practice. Now we are following this approach, but what will happen in the future, we will see.
Okay, and Shebnem, finally, let's look at the future trajectory. Could we envision the Zangezur corridor becoming part of a broader Central Asian European trade route?
Absolutely. There is not any, I think, doubt for it, because the corridor could serve as a crucial segment of the Trans-Caspian international transport route. And it would link Central Asian economies with Europe through Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Turkey, providing just not providing, but stopping some negative influences in the region. I mean that this is especially important in the current geopolitical climate where trade diversification is top priority. And especially nowadays, you know, there are some geopolitical changes in the world. And it means for the European market or for European countries, Chinese market is much more interesting because of some advantages, etc. That's why I think it can be part of broader Central Asian trade route.
Okay, and finally, Shebnem, what's needed for the corridor to transition from vision to viable infrastructure in terms of political alignment, external investment, or new mediation efforts?
All three directions are essential. Political alignment, you know, it is political alignment between Azerbaijan, Armenia, and other regional powers is a cornerstone of the Zangezur corridor project. So, and external investment, I think all these countries are interested in external investment, and this project can make the region much more attractive for external investment. From international consortia or for making infrastructure and other projects. And mediation and facilitation, I think now this region, and I say it just by the previous experience of our region, we need just third parties not to try to influence this region, not to make its interests in this region, rather than mediation or facilitation. So, you know, these countries can solve their problems by themselves much more easily.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Shebnem, thank you so much for joining us on the program today. And that brings us to the end.
Thank you.
That brings us to the end of another episode of Context. Thank you for watching.